the stored procedures in the earlier examples. Now functions. Okay, so this is of course will say some kind of the user defined functions. Minute, guys. Okay, so these two are the objectives that we are going to see, and moreover, one of the important thing as a byproduct is locking mechanism. So this particular locking mechanism is also very much useful in the design of the database, because generally, friends, if you are talking about the huge amounts of the data, automatically there is a chance of accessing the data by multiple members simultaneously. Uh, just what I will do is, basically, if you are referencing any kind of the concurrency control, and these kind of things are relying on the locking mechanisms. And moreover, let me scope the serializability concept also, because which is really helping you to understand the real power of the database. Though we are not making use of some kind of implementations related to locking and as well as the concurrency control, and at the same time the serializability. But the what way the database works, okay, because we may not implement these kind of things, because at the level of the DBA or at the level of the company, the admins can do that. But we have to see and we have to observe that in what way these functionalities are works, so that in the development also you can feel that even if I am using these kind of the conventions, there are certain implications positively or negatively, because if you are aware of what is before your implementation, and after implementation how it is going to out. So these are all very much helpful to us to delve into the proper design and development of the databases, and working with various principles of relations. Okay, so to set the context, so just let me recap in 2 minutes what exactly we have seen in the earlier session. We started with normalization, and which is basically which is basically a process of maintaining the database in a proper design. And with the help of that particular design orientation, one can easily come up with um, the elimination or reducing. At least if you are not eliminating, you can reduce the appropriate redundancy. So redundancy causes some kind of the problems, where those kind of problems are insertion, updation, and deletion anomalies, some kind of the errors actually. So as to avoid that particular thing, we have seen how the normalization goes and how it is helping us to specify the design constraint or the design aspects. Uh, for that particular purpose, we studied the functional dependencies. The functional dependencies are something like which is establishing the kind of the relationship between attributes. And if you want to study the appropriate constraints, the understanding of attributes and how the relation is built. So definitely the functional dependencies helps us so as to manage the convention of how these attributes are communicated and how we can make use of efficient database design. So, and I asked you that question like what exactly the functional dependency gives. Functional dependency gives us the understanding of the relation between attributes. And moreover, we have seen one more point like at the moment I am talking about the appropriate attribute, maybe the candidate key, which is left side. For every instance of that particular candidate key, we are having the same value of the dependent. Yesterday, we have seen some example also. So with that, we can easily say that how the right side value is dependent on the left side. So basically this functional dependency, okay, if I'm saying, so the appropriate functional dependency specifies that X functionally determines Y. Okay, so this particular dependency helps us to understand the design performance and how these particular things are making use of uh, the variables and whatever the columns we are having. Okay, so that we have seen, however. And thereafter, after making use of this kind of things, we have seen some kind of the normal forms, friends, actually. So the industry is striving for development of the projects in a good way or in a standardized way. And if that is the case, definitely we have to follow some kind of the standards. See, in your maybe while talking about SQL or any programming language, maybe we are having the developments in ANSI mode or ISO, OSI kind of things. Okay, so uh, like how we are making use of programmatical aspects with ANSI or ISO, OSI kind of considerations. We are having one more option here that is the normal forms actually. So this particular normal form is a kind of the rule and provide some way of because normalization we are saying that for the better design and to avoid elimination and redundancy of that particular databases so as to avoid some anomalies. But what is the way and how we can achieve that? So the way is here. So just we're having the normal forms, the 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF notations. 1NF making sure that atomic all the attributes in the table should be atomic in nature. 2NF making sure that no partial dependencies. So because of this particular thing, the database is not fully qualified to achieve the better design aspects. And the third one, the third normal form, is a no transitive dependency. Okay, so no transitive dependencies. So just we have clearly seen some kind of the example and conversion process. And to achieve these kind of the conventions, we are having some closure property, friends, actually. So closure generally what will refer is suppose if I am working with any kind of the candidate key, I want to find out the closure where it should find out or where it should populate a relation for us. Relation in the sense maybe we are having four attributes in that relation. We should able to generate. Okay, so these particular entire attributes of the relation with the help of the candidate key closure property. With that, just you can identify the kind of the relations, and we can come up with the analogy of how we are making use of this elimination of the partial dependencies, and how we are addressing the elimination of the transitive dependency. So these things we have seen, friends. And now coming to the current discussion, of course, we have seen some kind of the stored routines. So we discussed there some kind of the routine and how the stored routines helps us to implement some kind of the particular task. So as the name implies, these particular stored routines resides in the database. Okay, because they generally store in the database, and whenever there is a requirement, just you can call and execute them. Okay, and we have seen the advantages. You can uh, develop those particular stored routines and use many times. So this is a simple statement where you can observe in the uses of stored routines. So write once and use many times. And within that stored routines, I have started the discussion of stored procedures. Okay, so this particular procedure, generally what we have seen is these procedures belongs to the stored routines, and it is some set of SQL statements. Okay, set of SQL statements which implements. Okay, which implements some procedure. Generally, friends, here the stored procedures helpful to perform some kind of select statement, and to handle some kind of the DML operations, because this is a process. Na? This is a process. So generally, it takes some kind of the parameters. I have not yet introduced. In today's session, we are going to talk about those kind of things. So generally, it expects the arguments, because this is a procedure and we can send some kind of the arguments, and process the appropriate statements. Process the appropriate statement. So with this, we can see some other examples, because whenever we are talking about the examples, you can easily observe that. So how we are doing and what we are doing. And there we have seen some earlier case, we have implemented some three stored procedures. One is hello world with respect to the command line interface of the virtual lab. Second important thing is suppose I am having some EMPL data and I want to get the information. This is also we have implemented in the, we have seen in the CLI. And in the third aspect, okay, so just what we have done is here we worked out with employees data, and there we have used some kind of select statement, and along with that we have used that limit of number of records. Though I'm having some 50,000 records, assume that in the table, but I want to limit those particular records for the sake of my processing to understand the records. So this we have seen in the workbench. The important point here, friends, why we are preferring the workbench is um, generally while typing, the typo mistakes or sometimes the delimiter issues would be there, so that you can easily move in the interface of workbench. But in case of the normal or command line interface, it is always again going back and all, and again you have to retype everything. Okay, so for that particular purpose, just you uh, prefer this workbench. And moreover, I'll show you some other advantages of using Workbench, especially working with these kind of the stored routines, maybe the stored procedures, or that might be the corresponding the concepts, whatever we have seen. And while making use of this particular stored routines, we prefer some kind of the delimiter attachment. So just have a look on this, guys. So just if I am making use of the delimiter, um, as you can observe here. So just I have given some kind of example in the earlier session also. Um, just we as a general convention, no matter what exactly the process we are doing, initially, we are instructing MySQL to use a particular database as that of all other kind of the conventions which we make use of. And as a optimization technique, maybe if you feel that whatever the stored procedures we are using, you are absolutely okay to override them if they are exists. And as a need basis, generally we establish the kind of the procedures. So just you can drop that particular procedure if that procedure is already there. Now the delimiter, just one simple point, friends. Here the default delimiter taken by SQL is semicolon, this one. If you are referencing multiple statements in the procedure, every time MySQL terminates with respect to this particular semicolon. Okay, so to avoid that particular convention, so just we can uh, guide the MySQL in such a way that I'm using this delimiter double dollar. That means I'll explicitly mention the termination of the appropriate statement. And if you are referencing this delimiter, the double dollar, and that particular double dollar now onwards will be observed as a delimiter. And most probably all the members who design the stored procedures and functions, they use this delimiter. We also follow the same kind of the convention. Uh, this makes MySQL to understand that okay, we are using double dollar so as to end up the appropriate logic. Though now onwards, if you are in between, if you are using semicolon also, no problem. It won't mind. It consider that as a only the statement terminator, but not the entire procedure terminator. So if you want to end up the corresponding process completely, then you can come up with this double dollar ending, right? And as a general procedure, how we can establish or how we can create the appropriate stored routine is create procedure, because after this particular procedure understanding, we are going to work with functions also. In that case, we may use create functions approach. So just we are making use of the create procedure and the name of the procedure. So just here, just you can make use of the syntax. Okay, so for every kind of thing, just I am making use of create some kind of the procedure and procedure name. So we were talking about this kind of convention, friends. Actually, I can specify some arguments also, and these kind of arguments generally helps us. Okay, so as to come across with whatever the functionalities I am using, and while establishing or while running that particular code, how I am making use of these arguments for the implementation. Okay, I'll show you that. So and moreover, there is a logical connect actually. This begin and end, if I am saying. Just we are mentioning our procedure or whatever we are expecting from the procedure, just logically we are breaking down begin and as well as the end, and we are publishing our work, whatever we expect from that particular procedure. So in this example, just we are picking up some kind of the employee data, and we are limiting to that 1000 rows, and we are logically ending the process. And one more important thing is actually you set up that delimiter to $. And you want to manipulate or again come back to the normal usage, then you can go with the semicolon. Actually, delimiter semicolon again forces this particular MySQL to identify the semicolon as a normal delimiter. Okay, but one more important thing, friends, here you have created some procedure and you launched that particular procedure and you have compiled that. So just you select this particular thing and then you compile this particular procedure. So automatically, just if you are making use of this particular procedure, it helps us to give some kind of create procedure, and you can easily observe even here also. Just you can see, and so how I came to this thing is just you can click on this thing. So it allows us to work with the various kinds of the information of the employees data. Now we are working with the stored procedure. So I have created many procedures as a part to demonstrate. No problem. I'll talk one by one. And especially if you see this thing, it is allowing us to perform various operations. Okay, so refreshing, and as well as if I want to run this particular thing, there is a procedure call. Okay, so just I'm calling this particular convention. Okay, just it is giving some kind of the records. And along with that particular thing, suppose if I don't want to utilize this procedure, and once I'm done and I want to drop that particular thing, and how you use your table dropping, or how you are making use of the dropping of the database objects. In the similar way, you can also utilize this particular dropping of procedures. So what you can do is just you can click on this drop. It asks you review whether by mistake you are attempting this particular process or really you want to drop. Just try give this particular drop, but still it is appearing. Now what you can do is refresh. Okay, so now it is not available. So that means if you want to utilize the space, especially friends, if you are working with the cloud-based environments, maybe you will be given some virtual lab access, and there you need to execute your work and deploy your work. In that particular case, you can every time observe monitoring of your procedures or database objects which are taking much space. So you can simply drop them, because whenever there is a requirement, again you can establish and you can straight away make use of those kind of the conventions. So procedure or function, whatever, after creation, they won't fire or they won't execute by themselves. And it is the user's need based on the requirement of the user. The user can come up with the appropriate call procedure. So just you can explicitly call that particular procedure, and in a way you can execute those aspects. Now, one of the important point is, guys, while calling the procedure, so just if you refer the corresponding procedure calling, either you can directly call the select underscore employees based on the procedure name, or else we have seen some other aspects actually. So call the DB name dot the corresponding procedure, whatever I'm having, and you can leave like this. Okay, so like this you can specify. And moreover, otherwise, one more option, though we are not used frequently, but there are certain cases where you may mention like this also. But there is one common approach, friends. Generally, while working with the functions and procedures, just we are trying to specify the parentheses. Maybe the people who are the background of the programming languages, maybe C, CPP or Java, they pretty know that what exactly this parenthesis means. This is a functional representation. Maybe that is a constructor or destructor or member function, or whichever the functions we are using, just we are making use of this thing. So you also follow the same kind of the approach, but other methods are also available because MySQL consider these things as database objects or stored procedures. You can straight away use with the names also, nothing wrong. Okay, so but you that is the standardization of team performance is also important. How we utilize the variables and as well as the procedures. So with this, we equipped with the all the again revision process and how we are making use of the conventions of the stored procedures and all. Now let us create one more um, stored procedure to understand in a better way. So for that, I am creating a new empty tab. So with this particular tab, we are going to within this particular space provided, just we are going to work out the procedures. Okay. So now let us start with the initiation. Here the approach is like this, guys. So just we are trying to use the same employees database, and we want to create a procedure that provides the average salary of all employees, maybe in the appraisal process and in the the budgeting of next year. Okay, so just the management want to understand what is the average salary now, or else if I want to increment across 20% to overall the members. So as to perform that particular calculation, they need this average salary. So for that, just it is always a good programming practice to convey the information about what we are going to implement. So while executing, because we are performing some task, I have given some task to you, friends, as a part of individual evaluation. In that, I definitely observe whether you are following the things which we were discussed in the session, like how to give the names of the variables, and how we are making standardization of the corresponding code, or if any comment section is there, so as to convey some information, because definitely in some cases we may use that particular commenting also, so for the better performance and all. So just I'll see, but to habituate those kind of things, just I am mentioning here a procedure um, that will that provide so the average salary, average salary of all employees, average salary of all employees. So this is the process we want to establish. Now, as usual, the first point is notifying the MySQL with the delimiter. Okay, and now what we are doing is create procedure uh, avg sal. Okay, so just to notify, okay, today's session. So just I am giving that. Though if I would have used this avg sal to demonstrate you, but now I am creating a new one, avg underscore sal 5. And next, once you decide the name of this particular thing, then you make use of this begin statement. You could have observed this thing, friend. Generally, before the begin statement, just it is giving us some kind of error. So say statement is incomplete and expecting an identifier, but at the moment you are specifying this begin statement, it is transferred to the current line, because always current line is expecting the appropriate ending, maybe, or a leading kind of thing, so that it generally happens. Now, as a good readability, so just you can mention this. Just we are using the select statement, and we are making use of average salary, avg already existing functionality. From we are having the salaries data here. Okay, so a typical SQL statement where I am using the aggregate function avg, and all salary, whatever the salary column data I am having, those particular details can be observed from this or are going to apply the average on top of those things. Now simply we are coming back and mentioning this particular end statement and as well as a delimiter. Now the delimiter we are working on colon. Okay, so this is one more approach we follow, like a typical formatted way of understanding the things. But always this may not be the case. Initially, we used that particular procedure to publish some kind of the message. Maybe sometimes, friends, automatically we may get the information from Indium. You are having this meeting here and you are having this award ceremony is there in today's evening 6:30 p.m. So for those kind of the messages, yes, the database companies generally use population of the messages with the procedure running. So if I run the procedure across all our 2,500 members, we will get the appropriate message from the Indium database. So for that, the first thing we have used, and second thing is maybe if I want to access some kind of the information from the employee data with the select option. Now we are moving into the third one. This particular option helps us to apply some kind of the predefined functions. Okay, so one by one we are making the bricks and we are trying to utilize the convention. So just we are observing this particular process and we are making use of this average salary. And this particular average salary is we are not storing anywhere. Just we are giving this particular convention. Okay, I will show you if at all you want to use some kind of the variables, because any programming language try to utilize the appropriate process in a better way. So in that particular case, it is always preferable to use the variables. I will come to that particular point, but now we are only talking about how we are making use of simple things related to our stored procedures. Now, just you can select this thing and you can run. So and see here. Output area, just you can see this process is important. So create procedure. Okay, just we have created a procedure average underscore sal 5, and by selecting whatever the thing we are having, and if any error is there, then it should show us okay, you are having some error in the construction. Maybe sometimes if I am making use of any aspect like this, so rather than using this sal 5, let us try to get any error avg underscore salary. Hope this procedure is there in the database. Then if you try to run, see it warns us actually. Create procedure, just this is a error condition and it is clearly notify us. Okay, whatever the thing, and you can easily observe that. Okay, error code 1304. Procedure avg salary already exists. So always one important point, friends, I want to notify you. Always try to read the error messages, because they are all very important, because the documentation of the programming language done by the experts generally, and those documents are those error conditions. And in fact, in this session only, while working with the functions, because the other way of implementing the store routines is the functions, I'll come to that point. There is a specific error code actually. So to understand the error code in a better way, definitely you should go and read that particular message whatever we are getting as a kind of the error. Though this error is very simple, like you can easily see that, and even it is clearly saying your average salary whatever you are trying to implement, that is already exists. So just you can simply come back and just you can go with the older version. Okay, now just you run through. Okay, so this is also exists na? Just now we have executed. Okay, no problem. Okay, it's okay because earlier we ran this particular procedure so that it is opposing us not to use the same name. It's okay. Now once this thing is over, guys, as already I have specified, you can go to this. Let me close this first. Go to this database and click on this thing. Okay, which is providing all the dishes available with respect to the database employees. And one by one we'll see, friends. Just I'm focusing on this stored procedures only. Now recently we have created this avg underscore sal file, and you can right click on this, and either you can run manually uh, within that particular where we have entered that particular lines of the code, or else you can directly call. Okay, just this is a procedure call, and it is ready made. Okay, by default it is available, and you can run this. Okay, just it is giving the average salary of all the employees. That means if I want to increase the average salary of the average salary of the employees means entire company's average salary, no matter whether which department or whatever. So based on this thing, our budgeting is like now 63761 something. Now they want to reach 65000, something like that. So accordingly, the managers will be given access to propose the new salary structure for their maybe they can work on the budgeting constraints available to their team based on the experience and based on the criticality of the resource, so they can suggest some other upgrade. So generally these the implementations and programmatical aspects generally give reporting kind of thing, friends, where they strongly helps us to work out some kind of the strategic decisions, and they provide us the overall view of the corresponding data. This is one way of running our code, or else just to go back to the actual convention, and you can call. So the procedure avg sal 5, just you can place the cursor and you can run this. Okay, so or else well, only a single statement I am running. If I am running all the statements, again it opposes, already procedure is there. So like that, whatever the convention, and if you completely want to with some kind of explicit. Some people love to use the convention, okay, where I want to type manually and then only I want to run the process. Okay, so with that, just I have set up the context, and now what we're doing is another way of generating the stored procedures. And with respect to this particular process, friends, I need to select this left side panel is always giving us the schema information, and there are tables are there, views are there, stored procedures and functions are there. Now, as our current discussion is related to the stored procedure, let us click on this, right click on this, and you can make use of that create stored procedure. See, friends, nicely it is giving us a kind of template. Okay, a kind of template. Now you simply you can specify this address. You can modify this kind of thing. Just I am modifying this thing like select underscore sal. Okay, just that is what I want to utilize. And in the begin statement, I want to give some specific statement, whatever from salaries data, I want to get the information. Now, once you have this particular thing, um, now you can make use of this particular aspect. So you can save this thing as a new procedure kind of aspects, and just you click on the apply. Okay, so this particular apply just allows us to select certain kind of the conventions. I was talking about that locking techniques, na? So like while beginning of the session, I introduced that concept of the locking. Now let me show you that. So just this, how we came to this window is just I right clicked on this stored procedure, and I can use this create stored procedure, and it allows us a template. Even a typical programmer don't want to type much. He want to minimize the typing. Okay, so in that particular case, just one can easily get into these kind of the conventions, and they can make use. So because one important point, friends, here why I am referring this point is generally the system provided templates are standardized in nature. So that in a way, if you observe all the keywords like create, procedure, begin, and end, all these are in the capital words, and maybe it is a little difficult for us to convert everything into the uppercase, but just to observe that in the while in the MySQL documentation provided by MySQL this thing tool, automatically they follow this approach. Okay, so obviously you can observe that whenever you see the capital letters in the code, so they are significant enough for the reserved words and all those kind of the conventions. Now you observe this, and just I am giving some apply. Now you will be taken to some other window, friends. Actually, will be taken to some other window. Now nicely, you have to point out here, guys. So just we have given. Even we have not given this thing, we have given this particular part only, um, even a dollar also not specified by us, but you observe here, friend, the beauty of this support. It is clearly mentioned that use employees. Okay, automatically it points to the employees database. That's what I said, the general convention, the programmatical convention while using any kind of the table creation or view creation or the stored procedure creation. It is always a good programming practice to specify the drop uh, procedure, because anticipation of these errors, and some people always strive for running the program in the first hit. So for them, definitely these are all the advantages, and these are all the points to ponder. They can make use of this drop procedure if it exists. Select underscore cell, because we have simply updated that particular name of the procedure. Now we have not mentioned the delimiter also, but as I said, the industry followed delimiter is double dollar. So simply that particular double dollar can be used as a delimiter. And now what we are trying is we are using the employees, of course, already we have used, but again, that's how they process. Maybe this is helpful if I am writing multiple procedures or multiple statements. Maybe the same procedure might be having some multiple constructs, so that there sometimes they use employees, sometimes may use department, sometimes may use projects, like that. Okay, accordingly, the procedure can be built on. So here this is create procedure provided by our interface, and we just changed this particular name, and begin and end also there from the template, and we are simply updated the appropriate template with our statement select star from, and then end double delimiter, it is added by the template, and delimiter colon, the rollbacking of the double dollar delimiter, and we are coming back to the colon. Now here is the point. So the algorithm here selected by default, but we are having in place and as well as the copy. Okay, so in place and as well as the copy, however, will follow in default here. In place in the sense, maybe I'm having some kind of on-premise lab. or on-premise deployment, Cloudera or AWS kind of the cloud environment, and I want to run this particular procedure on-premise. So just with the local, whatever the credentials I'm having. So in that particular case, you can go ahead with the in place. And copying in the sense, just you can copy and export this particular thing to other external cloud. Maybe sometimes, after implementing of our code, the DevOps team coming to the picture. So just they want to deploy all our runnings on the cluster, and they want to test the performance and how the cloud resources are utilized, and whether it is okay to go ahead with the current cloud resources, or else we need to upgrade our cloud. All these conventions would be there. So as to estimate the performance, and so as to run our queries in remote location, just you can they can make use of this particular copy, but our context is related to running of the stored procedures in current mode. So just you can go with the default. But whereas if I'm talking about the log type, here the point is the default log none. None means there is no log in any of the object of the table, and I am okay with uh, not having any log. But there are two options, friends. Remember, but once I complete this particular narration, I'll introduce you the concept of the logs and shared and exclusive, and then I'll open up the chat window so that you can post your observations, whatever we have discussed in the session, right? That is how we follow. This default and none. None means nothing. No log is there on the database tables. I'm free to use any kind of the table. However, we will follow the default, and I will introduce you the shared lock and as well as the exclusive lock. And now for the time being, just to select this default, and you can apply whatever the parameters I suggested. So, and here it is asking, it is saying that it is confirming, yes, applying SQL script to the database. The following task will now be executed. You can monitor the execution. Press show logs to see the execution logs. So because one more point, friends, while dealing with the functions, I'm going to introduce you the log file usage. Okay, exclusively the log file we have discussed as a part of the task. But one thing, friends, here, this log files are very much important for the whenever there is a error or whenever there is some kind of the issue while running certain commands. In that particular case, logs are very much helpful. Okay, so just to notify to understand how uh, MySQL generate this particular log file as a part of generating the stored procedure, click on this. Okay, so just it is giving some information, friends. So message log, and this particular message log is more or less our implementation only. Just but it is trying to instruct the appropriate engine in such a way that we are about to do this particular thing, and even the members who are not aware of what exactly we are doing and what is the functional or technicalities in that particular code, the members can simply go and verify this log content so that they can assess, okay, what these guys are doing and how we are getting the appropriate thing, whether it is successfully executing or not. Most probable the testers need these things, friends. Maybe while performing any kind of the testing, and they want to understand the flow and how these particular things are happening. So with that, so just you can go with the finish option, and it is providing us again that's what I said. If you completely if you want to completely automate your process of stored procedures, just you can follow that approach. Just select the database. Within that, we are having the available stored procedures. Right click on that and create. you will be directed to another environment where you can make use of that particular code, and within the template you can update the same. And once you have done with that option, one more important property is just the algorithm and the log selection. Algorithm can be either you can copy or in place or default kind of thing. Whereas in case of the lock, we are having default, none, shared, and exclusive. So, as it for the time being, just we are selecting the default option. Uh, Now, once that is over, just I want to confirm the changes, and you can work with the log files, which are all the contents available in the log. Those things can be observed. And once that observation is over, so you can have a look on that confirmation logs and how it is executing, and then you can go with the finish button. Now we reach to this level. Now, if you observe this particular point, friends, so just it is conveying some information like create definer. So root at the local host, because this is the username and where we are running. And this is a kind of the construct called as the procedure, and this is the procedure name. Okay, just it is giving the description. And what exactly we are doing is just we are trying to run our salaries. We are just selecting the salaries orientation. So just you can apply, and obviously will be running this particular routine. Okay, so just already this has been applied. Okay, so now once this process is over, and maybe if I want to drop or if I want to see the outcome, so simply again, so just to refresh all and go to this employees data, and the select employees. Now you can see earlier we are having only earlier these things, but now if I want to execute the appropriate things, just I am making use of the select employees, and you can send to this thing and procedure call. So what is this thing, friends? The procedure is not existing because select employees, though we have seen here, but again, just you come back. Okay, but here it is not there. Something like there is a drop. So for this particular thing, just you can verify this option. Okay, so select salaries, and you can save this option, and either explicitly you can save as the SQL, or else you can work with the normal procedure, whatever we are having. Okay, so just apply, and it is somehow it is not allowing us, no problem. So just the procedure is that one, friends. You can select the template and you can come back, and all these kind of the conventions. Now, with that, just what we are doing is you can either make use of the procedure completely automation, or else you can, if you are initially, my suggestion is don't go with this these kind of things, because just now we have seen if still any refreshing is happening, it is not even identifying the appropriate database or appropriate procedure. So it is always a good programming practice to nicely open this new query tab and start typing, so that you can also in a way get the appropriate understanding of what exactly that procedure and how we are making use of the convention. Now, I have parked that particular concept of locking, but what I am doing is before going into the discussion of the locking mechanism, just let me put you this particular thing. So just I want to establish a kind of the stored procedure. I want to design a stored procedure. So this particular stored procedure helps me to come up with some input parameter, with input parameter. And what exactly this particular procedure does is I want to get the salary of a particular employee, and I want to get that particular information, of course, from the employees data and as well as the salaries data. From these particular table, I want to apply the join option, um, and I want to display the result. So this is the requirement, friends. Okay, this is the requirement. Now what I'm doing here is just I'm stopping here. Uh, just I want you to uh, try to give this particular how you can leave this input parameter and all. Okay, so just you can establish, you can work out how how we have performed to pick up that particular data. So input parameter I'll explain, but before that, just I'm giving some 4 to 5 minutes of the time. So if at all you want to pick up this employee data and salary data and you want to apply the join condition and I want to display the result, then how do you refer? And I need these kind of the conventions, friends. Just start from the create procedure. So just you can start from this thing and then you can utilize before that definitely the first statement is delimiter, and once that is over the create procedure and just you logically specify the begin and as well as the end. Okay, in between just you need to narrate all these kind of the convention. So applicability of the joins and returning of the result. Okay, so just you can specify these kind of the conventions and then finally the rollbacking of this delimited to colon. Okay, so no problem, friends, just to give a try. I want to get the messages, so just I am pausing here. So just to let me know that how I need to observe how you guys are seeing this particular stored procedure, because this is a little bit distinct when compared with the earlier procedures. Because earlier procedure, which is something like direct, where you can directly observe the notion. But in this particular procedure, leave the input parameter. I will come to that point, but rather you can focus on getting the employees information and how to join and how to get the salary information of a particular employee. Okay, so just you try to give the narration. I'll wait for you guys. So 11:01 and just to take 5 minutes, whatever the options you have. Okay, so I'm stopping. So I have given much time, guys. So let me see. Very good. Yeah, that's the spirit. Yeah, that's why I always like to use this space, giving a chance to you. Use employees DB according to Sahu delimiter procedure creation. Very good. Employee ID, employee name, salary from employee, inner join, or you can directly use the join. No problem. Nice. That's all. See, your typical SQL statements can be embedded into the procedure. Nothing new. And then Harish, given the same, more or less the same kind of the answer. Join. He has used without left or right or whatever inner. Just you can use the join. Very good. And Shahid also says so delimiter usage, create procedure, joins, begin and end the corresponding query. Very good. Bharati also the same select star from. And then Praveen has come up with some kind of analogy. If exists and create procedure, begin and this very good. And Seventy also given this delimiter directly used the create procedure statement. She has used some inner join kind of condition. Okay. Coming back to other delimiter, normal whatever the delimiter we are using, and create procedure employee sal and all these EMP comma sal join cell on EMP ID equal to salary. It all depends. Janeswar says it all depends on the way how we design the database and which are all the attributes related to the database. Okay. So Srinidhi, good, and Wasim Akram. So he's limiting that 100 because I asked you to okay because I have not asked you to get the particular employee data. That also you can do with the in parameter. That's what I'm going to talk. So very good, Karthikeyan. Okay. So remaining members also just don't be idle, friends. If I am asking or if I am giving some task, definitely try to involve in that particular thing. Okay. So because it is really helps us to understand the things instantly. But however, so just if you are making use of um, these kind of the conventions, one common procedure will establish. So is a typical process use employees database. Um, Once this particular thing is over, we are coming across with a drop procedure. Um, if exists, suppose if I want to confirm that whether that procedure is there or not, EMP sal 5. Okay, so suppose if this EMP underscore sal 5 is exist, I want to drop that particular procedure. Now, the very first important thing is we need to establish the delimiter $, as a common kind of thing. Now we are about to create the procedure, create procedure. So just I am creating the procedure. What is the procedure name, guys? Sal 5. Okay, and here the point come into the picture. Uh, just I want to utilize the in parameter. So what exactly in parameter is? Sometimes there is a possibility of explicitly submitting because so far while calling that particular procedure, we are directly calling with the name. We are not sending any argument or parameters. But at times there may be a possibility of working with the specific data. Maybe I want to supply some kind of the input data and I want to fetch the information. So what I am doing here is just I am mentioning the in, which is a keyword parameter. I am taking some parameter employee number. I want to give this particular thing as a parameter and I am confirming my information as integer. So just I am working with the integer parameter and here the understanding is simple. To this particular procedure, I am supplying some kind of the parameter. This is what you call the input parameter. and I am giving the input parameter name as parameter employee number. So just I want to supply the employee number parameter, and it is of course category of the integer. Now what we are doing is a logical begin of the corresponding task, and just you can use this statement what we have mentioned, but a little different. Just I want to get the first name. E is the alias name of that particular employee, and E dot last name. Okay, so and I want salary also, so that S dot um salary, because we want to pick up the data from multiple tables, comma S dot. So from date, from a particular date, I want to get in between the dates, comma S dot to date, in between how much amount he has drawn. Okay, so S dot from date and S dot to date. These two are the conventions. And from, so just we have to mention from which are all the tables we are using. Employees E. Okay, from the employees E, which is nothing but the alias I am using, and there is a join condition. So we are having another table called salaries. Okay, so just we have created yes. Now while working with the joins, friends, we are having on and as well as using. Okay, the distinction we have seen. So E dot, so just I am having the employee number, which is equivalent to S dot emp underscore no. So the database format is like this. We are having the employee data, salaries data on the database employee. Uh, the employee data is containing some first name, last name, all these kind of the employee information. The salary data is containing salary and from date and up to date, how much he has drawn, all these kind of the conventions. Just we are picking up, we are equating that employee number of the employee data with respect to the employee number of the salaries data. Well, there is a little trick, friends, here. Once you apply this particular join condition, now I want to supply the data. Where do I need? Because you may be getting some doubt. We have defined, we have instructed this p underscore employee number, but we have not used that particular number. Now you can use in the where statement, because in the condition I can specify where just to observe, friends, here e dot employee number. Okay, where e dot employee number is equivalent to whatever the value we are supplying. Okay, p underscore employee number. Okay, just we are closing this particular statement, and we reach to the end, and now you can put up this particular delimiter as usual. Okay, so now you see here, guys. So just we are making use of this database, and as a general convention, if any emp underscore sal5 exists, I want to make sure that though it is exist, I want to drop this, and assigning the delimiter and conveying the information to the MySQL. And what we are doing is here just we are making use of the procedure create procedure emp underscore sal5. And the important point in this particular procedure is I want to run my procedure by giving some kind of the input parameter. To do that, there is a keyword called in, which is nothing but to instruct the procedure that after defining this particular procedure, I want to supply some kind of the input data for you. Based on that particular input data, you can perform the activity. We'll try to understand in the reverse order. So first it is taking our whatever the data we want to give. Suppose I'm giving just my p underscore employee number as 300. This is the employee number. Assume that, and just it is checking this employee number in the employee data. Okay, an employee data, and then it is for this particular 11300. The procedure is trying to fetch the first name and last name, and from the yes. Okay, so just it is fetching the salary information from date and as well as the to date. Of course, there are two tables, employees and as well as the salaries, and it is trying to equate. Already, this employee number is populated with 11300, and the same number here equated with the employee number of the salary. Okay, so it is performing two kinds of assignments here. One is we have given some 11300 employee number as a parameter that initially checked with the employee number with the employee table, and once that is over, again it is going to check that employee number whether that is exist in the salaries, and accordingly it is going to populate the first name, last name, salary, from date, and as well as the to date. So remember friends, one point, uh, in case of the joins, we have not used our input parameter, whereas in the where clause only we applied the explicit parameter. Is there any point you observed, guys? Just I am taking pause here. Can't we do this assignment in the joins? But why we are explicitly specifying the join option? Why we are performing, or let me type this to clarify why we are assignment this one, why we are sending the we are testing the input parameter in the where class. Why not in join or in select? Of course, where is in select now? No question of select. Okay. Just to observe that, no problem. Take your time. But just you work out and you publish your answers. No problem. Now, with these friends, just we have created our this procedure, and this particular procedure clearly mentioning that taking the input parameter and performing some kind of the activity. So uh, it is fetching the salary information, provided that result we are expecting is first name, last name, these kind of the conventions. Okay, so the procedure remains same. Just you can select all, and you can uh, execute the corresponding thing, and clearly uh, you can see the success story of our procedure, create procedure. It is not giving any error. So now the point is just here also I can run my procedure. I can call my procedure. If you observe this call, what is the procedure name? EMP sal 5. Okay, so just you run through here, friends. What error we are getting? See, um, that's what I said. Error number. So error code, incorrect number of arguments for procedure employee. Expected one but got zero. Okay, so it clearly mentioned as a general habit, you might use this direct calling of the procedure, but this time we explicitly mentioned that this procedure is equipped with some kind of the input parameter. So definitely we have to send some kind of the input value, and that input value here is the employee number. Okay, so maybe you are creating some table, whatever the tables I'm having, I'm making use, never mind, no matter which table or which database, that is in your context, you can take your own, even you can take whatever the tables you have constructed as a part of the task. Okay, before giving the break, just I will ask you guys what is your status, and while when I'm asking, so just you try to update the status in the chat window. Okay, now just observe here, guys. Just we are giving some kind of the input parameter, and we are calling this particular procedure, and again I am trying to run this. So this time you see this particular employee number 11300. Um, this information is there with us. Maybe he is the employee on contract, or maybe he is working with us whenever as a consultant or whenever there is a requirement. And rather than giving this kind of the salary, why can't I recruit a full timer? So that is a proposal. Assume that. So then in that particular case, there should be some evidence, na? Because if you are going to talk with management or manager, you should go with some evidence. They may ask us what is the cost implications, and is there any benefit of, because definitely full-time guy rendering of the duties is distinct with consultants. So in that respect, we are trying to get this. But that's what I'm saying, friends. Every procedure or every function, especially in the landscape of this advanced SQL, should guide us to take some strategic decisions. Because again, it is giving the same old select statement or something like that. It won't create much impact on our learning, and as well as the projects also. You have to think in such a way that how can I bring value or add value with the help of the procedure, because these procedures are something like, which are really helping us to go ahead and pick up some kind of the data, and from that particular, because that too, these procedures are you can play around with the procedures, like after getting the content, and how do I manage this particular content and all these things, because it is providing us a one environment or one platform where you can put up all these kind of the conventions, whatever the conventions we are having. Those conventions can be directly used and specified with the advantages. Okay. So, and if you are referencing these kind of the constructs, so try to bring more value from the usage of the procedures. Okay. So now with this, just we are done with the input parameter. Now one more thing. Suppose if I want to, if I ask you, if I want to establish a procedure with one input parameter, and can we use this thing with the aggregate functions? Because generally there is a concept, friends. If I am giving a kind of number, can I use that for the aggregate functionality? And a specific example, I want to find out the average salary drawn by a particular member. In that particular case, definitely the input parameter is very much helpful. Okay. So what I'm doing here is just let me go with another example to specify the understanding of okay, the corresponding input parameter, um, and based on that convention, you can think through. So what can we, what others can be, what other operations can be done related to the aggregate functions. So a little change is there in this particular procedure. So I want to get the first name and last name, and rather than getting the salary from date and to date, I want to establish a average salary. Can you suggest within this particular statement? Okay, so just I am pasting here, guys. So I got some answers. Very good. Related to some ask. Hmm, nice, nice. Okay. So just you think through here. And if I want to get average sal of that P underscore employee underscore number. Okay, the parameter. Okay, whatever the parameter I want to give, and average salary I want to find out. Can you restructure or reorganize that particular statement, guys? Um, rather, rather than going ahead with the from date to date, one small change is required. Okay, so what is that particular thing? Before jumping into the discussion of the locking mechanism, and of course, I know, friends, I need to give the break for you. I am aware of that. Just hold on. So once I done with the locking, So because always the interval bank should be most excited. So that locking, I'll take only 5 to 10 minutes because that locking is simple. Um, and then once we completed with that implementation of this average salary and as well as the locking, then we'll go for the break, right? Okay. So just I'm trying to change this option and just you also keep posted so that we can discuss whenever we have some logical break. Friends, here the point is I don't want to access the salary information or this at least I should remove this from date and as well as the to date. Okay. Now my intention is to find out the average of this particular S dot salary. Simple. And from employee join salaries S on E dot employee number equal to S dot employee number, uh, where E dot employee number equal to P dot employee number, nothing change. And just for the time being, just to remove this. Again, we'll come back to that thing. So use employees and drop procedure if exists. Let us see whether it is going to allow us to work with the same kind of the name. Because as of now, if you see the employee data within the stored procedure, we are having the where is that? Just to refresh, you have to refresh. Now we got this EMP SAL 5. Actually, this is the procedure we are currently working. Uh, and just we are having that particular procedure with our employee information. Okay, so as a part of the database objects. Now we are again running this thing with a little change. Okay, so now the entire things remain same, guys. And here I am trying to run this. And the procedure created successfully just now. If you see, so EMP SAL 5 without any problem. And with the new whatever the addition we made. Uh, Now this time what I want to do is I'll go with the automation of this thing. Um, yeah, this thing and EMP underscore SAL 5, right click and procedure call. Now there is a little distinction, friends. Actually, what it is saying is employees dot EMP underscore SAL 5. Just you don't mind, just you can delete entire thing. Okay, now it is a typical uh, procedure. So let us try to run this without any parameter. So again, 1318 error code, arguments required, expected one, but we have given 0. So the employee number, just I am giving here, 113 11300. Now you can click on this thing. I got this average salary. Now we are working on the same employee. Okay, he stayed with us in between to and from, but now I want to identify how much average salary we have given to him. Can we get the same member or any other member related to the same salary or with little hike so that we can confirm his candidature as a full timer rather than the consultant or something like that. So this is how you can observe the usage of input parameter and all these things. Now, by this time, you would have got some idea like, OK, so the procedures are accepting the input parameters. What about the output parameter? What about the output parameter? Generally, friends, in the discussion also, in the earlier discussion of this stored procedure, what we have seen is generally these particular stored procedures helps us to run through some kind of the process and they won't return any values. Okay, to be precise and to be frank, these particular stored procedures are not meant for returning the values. But some specific situations would be there, friends, where there is a chance of fetching or getting some kind of the information where we can go with the output parameter also, out parameter of the procedure. But how to do that? Okay, there is one simple statement. I'll give you the statement, and then we'll see the how we are running the queries. So remaining things are common, friends. Use employees and drop procedure if exists. All these things are common. And my intention here is I want to write a procedure on employee salary uh, with the output of average. The average salary of the employee I want to output. So, however, you may ask me, however, we have done that, but this time I want to come up with the output parameter, though it is not that much significant, friends, but sometimes the people want to store that output because the problem here is whenever you are running the appropriate constructs, if you are not storing those particular constructs, you may not get the idea. Maybe after 3 hours or 4 hours, we generally habituated to drop the procedures. But if we want to keep track of these particular variables, where I want to utilize these variables in another scenario, then it is always better to go with the output parameter. Okay, for that, so just I am giving you the statement like this. It is pretty simple how we are using the input parameter. In the similar way, you can give the output parameter. For that, just I am making use of create the procedure we are creating, a create procedure. So just we have decided to give the name of that procedure as EMP sal AVG output. Okay, now we are beginning that input parameter. We are familiar IN, the same kind of the name. Here I am writing, friends, for the space issues. Employee number, and we know that this is the integer kind of the data. Similarly, to notify, just I am using the output parameter. Either you can use the complete capital letters or small letter out, which is a keyword. Now I want to define p underscore average sal as the output value. And average means generally it should not be the integer. Maybe I can specify the decimal data type and 10 digits out of those two or decimal parts, 8 plus 2, like that. And if you observe this particular point, friends, okay, so with by adding the additional outcome, like along with the input parameter, we are adding the output value also. So input whatever the variable you want to take, p underscore employee number, parameter employee number, and output parameter. We are saying that out what you can do is a p underscore average sal. Just you can make use of the decimal 10 comma 2. Okay, generally that averages and all will come into the decimal portion. So now what we are doing is let us try to have the discussion of that output. So just you can make use of after this I will break, friend. I will give the break. Don't worry. So what we are doing here, just let me clean all these things, friends. Don't save. This is also I need not. Okay, all these things, no problem. Anyhow, I recorded these these scripts with I have documented these things for you. I'll post in the Slack, so directly you can make use without any problem. Uh, but it's better to clear. I'll explain these things after completion of this. So I'm creating a new tab here. This time also, just I'm making use of this convention. We follow one standard so that you also follow with me. So use employees database. Now the general convention drop procedure. Um, only you need to drop if it is exists. Okay. EMP. What we're doing sal average. output. So employee salary, average output. Some trying to give some meaningful name. Maybe you can give the better name also. But that immediately came into my mind, so that I have given that. Now the same, whatever we have seen in the concept explanation, the same thing we are giving. Create procedure. So just we are creating the procedure. EMP sal average output. Just I am finding out this thing, and we are making use of the input parameter. So employee number belongs to the category of the integer. And similarly, we are having the output value here along with the input. Now we are specifying the output also. Uh, Parameter average sal. This is the output we are using, and the decimal values up to this particular thing I am using the decimal values. Now a logical start of the program. You also give a try, friends, with me. Just I am trying to find out the average salary, and I want to store that particular thing in the variable rather than directly giving. So now I am making use of this select statement. AVG of, we pretty know that our salary data is available in salary table. Now one of the important thing is, guys, here you have to use the into statements. Okay. Uh, Point is very simple. Um, all the variables, whatever we are having in the tables, you can directly call them and you can directly use them. But the variables, even I asked this question, why we are inputting our p underscore employee number in the where clause rather than the joins, or rather than directly using. Now you can get one more evidential point here. Any explicit variable defined by the corresponding developer, directly we cannot use those variables in the program, because this hardly PLSQL is a combination of the SQL statements. SQL is having the direct access on the table data, maybe employee salaries, department, whatever we are talking, and they are not aware of our variables actually. So we have to guide them in such a way that I am using this variable, and I am using this variable in this particular context, something like that. So from that perspective, friends, what you need to do is you have to use certain standardizations, like generally whatever the variable we declared as the input parameter, they can be used in the where clause. Okay. From that particular point, whatever the value you have given, that will be mapped with the employee data, and then you go ahead with the join or other options. Similarly, if at all I want to process some kind of the data, first I have to populate the data with the table information, because I cannot directly make use of this average sal output variable into the table data, because table data is already there, and I want to populate the table data according to my requirement to the level of the output variable. For that particular purpose, first we need to create this average salary, whatever the data we are having, and I am pointing this particular as dot salary into some variable. What is the variable we have taken, friends? Here that variable is uh, the p
P
underscore
average salary.
that one actually. So p average sal. Now what you can observe, our s dot salary, whatever we have computed, that now onwards is available in the p underscore p average salary, whatever we are taking. Now this remains same from where we are getting this data, employees e. Okay, so and I want to join. Okay, so this salaries, yes, on e dot emp underscore no, which is equivalent to s dot emp underscore no. Okay. Now we are going to apply some where condition. Here the point come into the picture. Uh, just you can make use of employee number, whatever I have taken as the input parameter. Now in the same statement, friends, we are making use of both input parameter and as well as the output parameter. And delimiter I am mentioning as colon. Okay. Type. Yeah. Okay. So with this, just we have nothing new, friends, except this. Earlier we have not posted any value from the program to explicit variable, but this time intentionally we are providing the output parameter, so that what we have done is we have taken some measure or calculation from the table data, and on top of the table data we are writing some query. And now what we are doing is we are equating this average salary into the corresponding whatever the variable we have declared. Now just you run through. So just you can run, and of course successfully we have created this because nothing wrong, and it is not suggesting anything. So successfully we have created the procedure of EMP sal average out. Now, as a general procedure, guys, what we are doing is just let me call this call EMP sal average, and I want to output. Generally, it is accepting this thing, na 110 uh, 11300. This is the data we are having. This is the employee number we are having. In the earlier example also, we have taken the same. Now, what we expect here is I want to run this particular query. Just let us run this. Now, just have a look on this, guys. What exactly? Definitely it is error, and it is saying something
It should give two
incorrect.
parameters.
Okay, two parameters also, right? I'll give which parameter? Can you name that?
Output, I tried it, but it's throwing an error.
Yeah. That's what you should get the error. Uh, See, yeah, as per the request or as per the error message, we are trying all the ways. Again, it is saying unknown column p underscore average underscore sal. So something is missing out here, guys. That means I tried all the ways. Intentionally, I am keeping this statement also for you. Call EMP sal AVG out of 11300. This is one option we have tried, and this is the second option, but we get a negative thing. So just I am making use of this thing, and then this also didn't work. So now the third option, friends, while performing these kind of the output parameters, uh, it is always a procedure. Okay, like this, you need to call this particular option. Like what I'm doing here is every time whenever you are creating a procedure containing both an in and output parameter, we have used this particular thing. If you observe this particular point, now we have to satisfy this convention. Okay, because except this particular thing, we are not returning any statement, because now this average salary is preserved in this thing, and we want to pick up this particular variable from the program. Okay, now this particular output variable is tagged with the PLSQL programming. We have to call in such a way that same procedure, friends, employee sal avg output. One thing is for sure, first we have to give the employee ID where we are working out some kind of the scenario where whether we need to continue him as a consultant or else we convert him as a full timer kind of thing. Now, a simple thing, friends, here use the @ symbol that guides PLSQL that I am accepting. Okay, I am expecting this particular information p underscore average salary. Okay, now you can run through. Okay, one row affected. That means, but still we are unhappy. Why? Because we want to get the value actually. For this guy, we want to get the average salary drawn starting from our engage. For that friend, just you can use the explicit select statement, whatever the variable we are having, p avg underscore sal. Uh, just we are selecting this particular statement and I try to run. Now it is pretty simple to observe that. So there are many points, friends. I am expecting you to give or use in the chat window once we are coming from the break, because I'm keeping alive this particular implementation. Reason behind is there are so many points we want to observe as a part of understanding this querying. So just let me hide this output area. Of course, still this output is there. Now, one more important point. What is the name of the procedure here? EMP sal average out. So just let me open this thing and here going to refresh EMP sal average output. I want to refresh this. This is the latest procedure we have created. You can see the date and all. Now right click on this and if you want to run this particular procedure call, have a look on this guys, how it is providing. This is the actual support given by the MySQL for us. Now, though you are having some ambiguity, how do I run the procedure with in and as well as the output parameter? Now you can simply say that just we are calling this particular employees data and that salary output, and from this you can, it is easy to you to populate the data like 11300, and here it is expecting the output parameter and it is clearly saying that it is a decimal portion. So now you can make use of this thing like this. So whatever the variable I'm having, p avg or sal, hope that is correct. Now directly you can run, but still it is going to affect us. So definitely we have to embed this at the rate. Okay, so that means from the programming I am making use of that convention. One row affected. Okay, one row affected, but still there is unhappy for us. So again we need to add one more statement at the rate p avg sal. So I'm repeating the statement, friend, because so that after the break also you can add some more points. Now you click on this, the same thing. So either you go with the running of this particular thing with the procedure call, okay, like this, or else you can go with our general convention. So just you can manage these kind of convention in such a way that whatever the procedure I'm having, I'm making use of this calling of the procedure along with my required employee number and then this thing. Okay. So with this, I'm pausing here, guys. So just we are about to take the break. Now it is 11:55. Have a 15-minute break. So by 12:10 sharp will come back, and after coming back, just the thing is, in addition to these things, in and out observation in the stored procedure. This is one thing. Second thing is in executing the procedure, what are all your observations? What are all your observations in the context of out parameter? So just have a look on that, guys, and have a nice tea and come back. 56 now. 12 will meet. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.